Okay, welcome back. Happy Monday. Let's do a mic check real quick. Going for a rip, bud. Sorry. Happy Monday. I hope everyone is feeling good today. It's a beautiful day. Spring is here and it's fantastic. I can't express how excited I am that the weather is warm. I usually enjoy winter, but with us being locked in our houses all year, it's nice. It's a nice break to be outside when it's nice out. So, anyways, today I want to talk about healthy mind versus toxic mind. So I just did a post about this morning, but I wanted to dive in a little deeper because it's so incredibly 1000% valuable to understand the difference and really understand it in your body, not just intellectually. So I've had a habit of just being a very logical person. Of processing my emotions intellectually, processing information intellectually, but it never really reaching my body. So it only got into my conscious mind. It never got into my unconscious mind, which means I never truly believed the things. So I would get information. I would be like, oh, yes, that makes sense up here, but it wouldn't make sense in my body. So I wouldn't truly believe it. I would just understand it. And you can understand concepts, but if you can't put them into practice, they're kind of useless, right? So I want to talk about healthy mind and toxic mind. Healthy mind is you. Healthy mind is the person that sets goals, the person that knows your truth. It knows what you're capable of. It speaks kindly and lovingly to you. It won't let you settle. It won't lie to you. Your healthy mind is the one that you need to listen to. Your healthy mind is the one that's activated when you're in a really good mood, when you feel really good, and when you're deciding what you want to do for the future. That is your healthy mind. Like when you get really excited and you're in that really peak state and you make all those plans, that is your healthy mind. Your toxic mind, okay? Your toxic mind is your limiting beliefs. Your toxic mind lies to you. Your toxic mind tells you things that, as soon as you start to move forward in some way, your toxic mind will kick in and be like, hey, and try to pull you back. I had this experience this weekend. I started my group accelerator coaching program. My business coaching program today was my first session. It was totally awesome. And all weekend, like full disclosure, I got my period on Saturday. So I'm in full PMS, like just horrible cramps, just feeling like garbage already because of my hormones, where I am in my cycle. And then toxic mind kicks in and just starts being a dickhole, just a super jerk all weekend. And like I had massive anxiety. I was like having food cravings like crazy, just like go eat garbage, go eat garbage, go eat garbage. I didn't. I balanced. Like it was Olivia's birthday party, so I had some chicken wings and I had a piece of cake, for her birthday, etc. But it was pushing me. It was pushing me hard to just like don't do anything, just and like starting to get nervous about the group. And like I'm looking at the women in the group. Because there was a post, like Kara did a post beforehand, and I'm looking at their profiles, and instantly I'm like, oh, I don't belong here. I don't belong here. I'm not good enough to be in this group. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And it's a liar. It's a filthy fucking liar. Because what it does, as soon as we're about to step into something new, as soon as we're about to release an old pattern of behavior, excuse me, I just spit a little, or step out of our comfort zone, toxic mind steps in and goes, excuse me, what do you think you're doing? And this is true for all, like, think about any time you've tried to do something new, you started a new job, a new relationship, made a change in your life, made a decision to make a change in your life, I should say, and stepped forward. What happens? What happens? You start to get all these doubts, start to get all these fears, this little nattering thing in the back of your head's like, no, what do you think you're doing? There's no way you can accomplish this. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. No one's going to listen to you. Everyone's pretending to like you. Nobody actually cares about you. You're a loser. You should go die. I mean, that's dramatic. I digress. And what we have done and what we've been conditioned to do, and what I was conditioned to do was listen to that voice, because we consider that the voice of reason. We consider that logical. It makes sense and it's practical and it's trying to keep us safe. And the brain's job is to try to keep us safe. So it's doing its job, right? It sees that you want to stretch yourself. It sees that you want to be, go on to this forward journey of bettering yourself. And it says, no. It says, no, that's not safe. We don't know that. So we need to protect you. And it acts as a friend, but it's really toxic. And what we can get that confused with is our intuition. And this is where I used to get confused so much all the time, is I would think that toxic mind was my intuition speaking to me. And there's a difference. There's a huge difference between like that toxicity and your intuition. And you can tell the difference. If you sit with it, like there's times where your intuition will tell you something, be like, this is not safe. This is not a good idea. Don't go here with this person. Don't go on this date, whatever the case is. And that's correct, right? That's a warning sign. And that is an actually dangerous situation that you're about to go in. And you should listen to your intuition 100%. But it's learning to differentiate between the two of those moments. Because toxic mind, what will happen is toxic mind will kick in when you're about to do something really good, something really, really good for yourself. Maybe you've decided, you know what, I'm not going to eat like garbage anymore. I'm making a decision. I'm making a plan. You sit down, you make a plan. You're like, you know what, I'm sick of eating like crap. I really want to feel good. I want to feel healthy every day. So I'm going to make a decision to eat better. And maybe you spend the weekend, studying up, you're learning a little bit about nutrition and, okay, what are some changes I can make? You put a plan of action in place. So you set up your plan, you make your goals, you clear out your kitchen of all your junk and you're ready to go. And then Monday comes and all of a sudden you're tired, your body hurts, you're cranky, you're hungry, you're moody, you have a headache, you've all this, you're busy, and you have all these reasons not to meal prep, not to eat healthy. You forget your lunch at home. Let's say you're going to work. You forget your lunch. Like all of these things conveniently happen, which sets you up for failure. But what we don't realize is that is toxic mind. Some people call it tiny mind. Some people call it subconscious. Some people call it the devil. Some people call it demonic, right? That's the devil trying to lure you in. Like that's, but the whole point is it's a negative thing. It's a liar. It's lying to you. It is completely lying to you. Because if you go back and you get proof where you look for proof, so you can very easily look for proof of how the toxic mind is correct. And that's where a lot of us trip up. That's where a lot of us get trapped, right? Because the toxic mind is so powerful in those vulnerable moments. If we haven't trained ourselves to see beyond that moment, it's a very powerful thing, right? So we tend to look for proof of how toxic mind is correct instead of looking for proof on how healthy mind is correct. And this is a real thing. This is a real thing. It happens to me all the time. And it happens to me severely when I am about to make a massive shift. Like when I'm really going to scale my life, that's when it's the loudest. For example, when I quit Good Life. I quit Good Life. Oh, I'm going to go on my own. Not even a month. I think it was 2 weeks, maybe. I've been gone. And I get a note from my landlord that he's going to sell the house. I have to move. I don't even have any solid income yet. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I end up moving back home. Like I'm 30 years old living at home now. And I wasn't tracking my cycle at the time, but I was PMSing. Like I was like in that psychotic, those 3 days of like psychosis, PMS psychosis. And I made the decision that I wanted to go back to Good Life. I wanted to go back to safety. Every single fiber of my being was like, this was a mistake. You should have stayed at Good Life. Now look, you lost your house. You lost your independence because I had a belief that if I couldn't financially support myself, like I was basically a loser. And I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know how to accept help that was given to me at that time. And I went crawling on my hands and knees and asked for my job back at Good Life. And, Jerome, being the person he was, said, okay, come back. And I went back to work at Good Life for one day. And I still remember sitting in the meeting and I whispered to Mike, I was sitting next to Mike and I whispered to him, I was like, this is a fucking mistake. I'm out of here. And he's like, you couldn't even last the day. I said, no, this was a huge mistake. I have to leave. And like the meeting was just ending and I peaced out. And like, I think I might've texted Jerome and I'm so sorry, but this was a mistake. But that's an example like of the toxic mind. Just, I picture it like you're walking through quicksand or molasses, right? It's just this like sticky muck, just like weighing you down and pulling you back when you're about to make that shift. And so it's really, really important to bring awareness into those moments. Just like I talk about the food cravings, we give the 10-minute rule. It's the same thing, right? When we're about to make some kind of massive shift, and this applies to everything. So anyone can take away from this, right? When we're about to make some kind of shift for the better for our lives, and toxic mind comes in, like you need to understand that's not your intuition talking. 9 times out of 10, it's not your intuition talking. Again, you learn to get quiet with yourself and you start listening to your inner voice. You can differentiate the two, right? You meet someone sketchy on match.com or whatever. They say something off-putting and you get a feeling that you don't want to go on a date with that person. That's going to be a bad idea. That could very well be intuition speaking. Maybe don't go on the date with that person, or go to a public place or go on a double date. Like if you're not sure, you know what I mean? Like there are times where that is intuition, but when you've made a decision to better your life, and then all of a sudden, like you felt really good Friday, and then all of a sudden Monday, you're like, what the fuck did I just do? Oh my God. Because I've had that feeling more times than I can count. It's not you. It's not healthy mind. That's toxic mind. So what you can do, and what I do now, what I do, not what I used to do, because what I used to do was like fight with myself and regress and isolate and sometimes give in, right? But what I do is just, again, it's just bringing that awareness in, noticing. I can't stress enough how useful of a tool awareness is. And when I say awareness, I just mean noticing. It's non-emotionally watching yourself. Just observe what's happening, bring awareness into it. And it's like, take a seat, get the popcorn out and just watch it unfold. And it can be really challenging not to attach to what's happening, because I went through that this weekend. I was heavily attacked with toxic mind. And I just got to a point where I'm not even kidding. Like yesterday, because Sunday's like boot camp, meal prep, and then I do all of my content, like my content pieces for Instagram, like my posts, I make them on Canva. I do that for Touch by Addiction as well. Like Sunday's packed with preparation for the week. And I just couldn't get it together. Like I was being severely attacked by my toxic mind, and I'm PMSing. Like I can't stress enough. I know I don't shut up about this, and I know Adam's group's on Thursdays. Like I've started talking about PMS, but it's so important for women to recognize where they are in their cycles. It's very, very important. I digress. I just started crying. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to give myself some grace today because I can't handle this. Like I kept trying to force myself. And then when I couldn't get it together, I would get angry. And I was getting wrapped up in my emotions. I was getting wrapped up in toxic mind and the toxic mind's thoughts and the anxiety that it was bringing me. I was getting wrapped up in it. Instead of becoming the observer, I was right in there with it. So I just started to cry and I was like, fuck this. And so I threw on the notebook. I said, I'm going to give myself some timeout. I'm giving myself a timeout. And I threw on the notebook and I laid on the couch. I turned all my devices off and I just watched the notebook, because I felt I needed to cry. And that love story gets me every time, just thinking about it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the ultimate love story. I love it so much. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Had my couple hours. Then I took a shower. And then I got back into that seat of awareness. And I was like, okay, Let's objectively look at this for a moment. You've committed to coaching, business coaching, right? You've gotten clear on your niche and who you're helping. You are ready to take it to the next level. You are showing up every day, authentically yourself. You feel really good on a regular basis. So what's the problem? Because it wasn't just hormones. It was more than that. And that when I just took that moment to bring awareness in and take a step back and objectively look, not emotionally watch, because you can't get wrapped up. As soon as you start to attach meaning and attach your emotions, it's endgame. So you gotta just get that, detach from the emotion and just non-emotionally bring that awareness in and observe, like you're watching a stranger, like you're watching a movie, like you're analyzing some kind of something, right? Just look. And if you just look at the facts and you look at the history and what's happened, and you can be like, okay, yes, Amanda, you beautiful soul, you. This was an old pattern of yours, right? You get to this ceiling and then you crush it until you get to the ceiling, and then you reach the ceiling and then you peak and then you freak out and then you regress. And where are you right now? Oh my goodness, you are like loving life. You've made all of these powerful decisions in your business. You are ready to take it to the next level. That is your toxic mind. And immediately, as soon as I pulled that little nugget out, like it was plugged, let's say, I pull the plug out, I immediately felt better. The anxiety was gone. The stress was gone. I wasn't like ornery and like weird and not knowing what to do with myself. I took a deep breath and I was like, yep, okay. So it happens, right? It happens. But when we are able to just pause, bring that non-emotional awareness in and just objectively look at it and be like, okay, what is this behavior signaling? What does this mean? What do these thoughts mean? Because that is not me. That is not me. And you know what I did? I have saved in my phone, in my notes, all of the comments, all of the messages that anyone's ever sent me in regards to my content, to my coaching. Anytime I've ever helped anyone or something I've said has spoken to them, whatever, anyone who's ever messaged me, I have that all on a note, a single note, like I have it in my notes. How many times can I say note? Anyway, because I was being attacked so heavily by the toxic mind, I did attach emotionally. I started to get really overwhelmed, right? I pulled that out and I started reading everything. What you're saying really resonates with me. Man, that thought changed my life when you did this video here. And I thank you so much for showing up and saying that. And I just kept reading them. And I was like, yep. And then I got back in alignment with my true self, not this bullshit version that doesn't exist anymore. What the toxic mind was trying to drag me in and make me that person again, which I'm not. And I was like, yep. And it clicked. So when that toxic mind shows up, it is very important to pause, bring that non-emotional awareness in, simply become the observer, observe the thoughts. It's challenging. It takes practice to non-emotionally observe the thoughts, and then just get curious. Again, we bring in that curiosity, right? Like a kid. Oh, I wonder what this dirt tastes like. I wonder why these thoughts are coming in right now. And you just become this like little detective of your own behavior, of your own mind, right? You're kind of exploring. You're like, okay, I wonder why this is happening right now. Well, maybe I've made a major shift in my life. Maybe I'm about to make a major shift in my life. Maybe I'm about to level up in some way, in my relationship, in my health, in my finances, in my career, whatever the case is, right? Maybe I'm about to ditch this bullshit food problem I'm having. Maybe I'm about to get a coach. Maybe I'm about to, whatever it is. And this is probably why this is happening, because I'm stretching myself beyond what I've previously thought I was capable of, and I'm moving forward. So these thoughts, these negative thoughts, these liars, it's not me, it's not real. I am the healthy mind. And if it's helpful to you, like I think faster than I can write sometimes. So my my hand can't keep up with my thoughts. Excuse me. So what I usually do is I can just sit there and kind of talk out loud because I live by myself and I don't look crazy. And even if I do, I don't really care because no one's around and whatever, it's irrelevant. But you can do a video journal if you just need to talk it out and you don't want to just talk out loud like I do, because I'll just sit there and I'll just notice things and I'll speak and I'll get it out of my system that way. I do journal daily, but more like gratitude stuff. When all these thoughts come in, it can be a little bit much, but journaling the thoughts out is my point that I'm trying to get to. You can journal the thoughts out. You can do a video journal. You can just talk them out, but get it somehow out of your body. If you need to like have a shower, wash your body and like picture all of that negativity getting washed away, go for a workout, like something. But once you identify, you bring in that awareness and you identify that that's not true. Like it's really important to get it out of your body to some capacity. And then identify, like pinpoint the thoughts that are coming in, right? Because it's just like, you can't fight you can't fight an enemy you don't know or you can't see, like you don't know it's your enemy, right? You don't want any funky looking Trojan horses coming back in. So like write down what the thoughts were and then turn them around. So if it's like, for example, with the group coaching today, like I don't belong here. Hi. Yes, you do. I belong here. Like, that's simple, right? Like I look around and I'm like, oh, well, these successful women, these entrepreneurs, and like somehow, somewhere in there, in that broken, toxic bullshit, there's this thought that goes, you're like a little girl, like you're not successful. You're not a woman. You don't belong in this room. And that is completely untrue. And I know in my soul that that is fucking untrue. So it's just seeing that Trojan horse that's trying to come in and just being like, I don't fucking think so. And laying it out on the table and looking at it and being like, excuse me, you don't belong in this room. How about I do belong in this room? And let's look for all the ways that you do belong in this room. Let's look for all the ways that you are an entrepreneur. You are a strong woman. You are intelligent. You're a good coach. Let's look at all those things and then focus on that. Focus on that. So whatever lies are coming in, whatever Trojan horse is trying to get its way back into your head, you need to expose it. And then you need to turn that enemy into a friend. So you need to turn that negativity into positivity. And I'm not talking about toxic moms, like I'm happy all the time. You take the negative thought. I am unworthy of X. I don't know. I can't think of an example. I'm just going to continue with my own example, right? I don't belong in this room of really powerful, successful women. I do belong in this room of powerful and successful women because I am powerful and successful, because I define what success means. No one else. And here are all the ways that I powerfully show up. Here are all the ways that I am successful. Here are all the ways that I belong in this room. And I focus only on that. And then I get that in my nervous system. I repeat that to myself. That is my new truth. So then when that Trojan horse tries to come back in, no, I recognize you, get out of here. It's like a virus, right? Like the antivirusware on your computer. They're like, oh no, we know you. We know that code. You don't belong here. Get the fuck out. Because that's how we stay stuck. That's how we stay stuck. That's why I've regressed so many times. It's like this, it's like the clap back, you're like going, then someone just knocks you down, but it's your subconscious knocking you down. It's that toxic mind knocking you down, but it's not who you really are. It's not who you really are. And you got to stop listening to that mind, that part of your brain. You got to stop listening to it. And I mean listening to it in terms of believing it. Like listen to it so you can identify the thoughts, so you can turn them around and get rid of them. But I mean, you need to stop believing it. Whatever negative bullshit that your mind is trying to tell you, that toxic mind is trying to tell you, it is bullshit. And you get proof where you look. You got to believe in yourself. When healthy mind speaks, listen. When toxic mind speaks, tell it to fuck itself. Hear it long enough just so you can identify who the enemy is, what it's saying, so you can turn it into your friend and it can't affect you anymore. Hope you guys found this helpful. And I always thank you for your time, because time is the one thing that we can never get back. And I genuinely appreciate yours. It's this life is such a beautiful gift. It's a beautiful journey because I choose to see it that way. And if you could just for a moment look at all of the blessings that you have in your life, and in reality, even the things that are seemingly like problems and tragedies, they can become blessings as well. Because even through our hardships, we're able to help another person. And something that I have on my whiteboard in my bedroom, be who you needed when you were younger. And so I'm so thankful for everything that I've gone through because I have an opportunity now to help someone else. And I think back to that girl, that teenager, whatever, that adolescent, addicted to drugs, scared of her own shadow, so insecure, letting people walk all over her and use her and just being so volatile. And I can go back to those moments and I can remember just being in so much pain and just not understanding why those things were happening to me. And now I fast forward to this 34-year-old woman, almost 34-year-old woman. And I think, wow, what a blessing. What a blessing. I just couldn't see it then, obviously, but what a blessing. Because without that experience, I couldn't show up like this today. I couldn't show up and I couldn't help people in this way because I never would have gone through that. Wow. I'm so thankful. And I mean that. That's not bullshit. I genuinely mean that. I'm so thankful for everything I've ever gone through because it's made me who I am. And when we go through that journey of authenticity and really discovering ourselves, loving ourselves, and then showing up as that loving, authentic person, you don't regret anything in life because it's brought you to where you are and who you are. And if you have that self-love, how could you possibly, for a second, regret anything you've gone through? And then one step further, taking whatever it is that you've gone through and then turning it into a way that you can serve others, turning it into a way that you can offer wisdom, turning it into a way that you can be there for someone else in their time of need. And it doesn't have to be a career. You don't have to make a career out of it, but you meet someone who's suffering with something that you've experienced and overcome, you can share your wisdom. You can tell them, look, I was this, 17-year-old who had who became a mom. And what you're going through right now as a young mom, I can relate to that. This is how I got through it. Let me share this with you. You have this, we all have these beautiful gifts. And the gifts are the problems. The gifts are the hardships because it builds our character and it makes us that unique individual. Because even though, I know many drug addicts, recovered drug addicts, many, many, many. And we all have gone through drug addiction, but we all had an individual and unique experience through that drug addiction. And we all show up and help the world in a different way, in our own unique way, right? So yeah, 50,000 people could have gone through one thing, but it's all through your own personal perspective. And the only person that can offer that perspective is you. The only person that can offer your perspective is you. So when you're sitting there suffering, and I'm trying to picture how I would speak to me, 17-year-old me. And I guess what I would say is that I know that you're suffering And I know that you feel that there's no point to it, there's no purpose to it, and like it's happening to you. But I promise you, not only is it going to get better, but this shit is happening for you. And it's building you into this strong ass person that's going to go out there and that's going to help people. And you're going to save the world, even if it's one person. So you need to hold the fuck on and you need to push through this shit, because you're going to come out the other side in a way that you can't even imagine right now. And you need to know that. You need to know that. So whatever it is, whoever you are out there, if you're listening and you're struggling with something, it's just preparation. It's preparation for something better to come. And you can't listen to that toxic mind tell you anything other than you are good enough, you are worthy, you are strong. Everything that happens for a reason. You are meant for greater things, and they're on their way. You just have to hold on and don't listen to bullshit. I hope you guys enjoy your Monday, and I will see you next time. Take care.